One of the biggest challenges we humans around the world are facing is, as you know, climate change. Life on Earth, millions of plant and animal species, as well as our own livelihood, crucially depend on whether or not we will be able to understand, predict, and adequately react to these changes. A fundamental tool toward this end are global climate models. These models help us plan for the policy changes needed and potential consequences if we do not meet our goals. Unfortunately, while these models do a good job of reproducing climate of the past, they continue to be in considerable disagreement about the pace of future climate change. A major reason for this uncertainty is that we do not know how plants across the globe will react to and thus further contribute to ongoing climate change. Currently, plants are actually doing us a tremendous favor. About a third of the CO2 that we are releasing into the atmosphere is being absorbed by plants through additional growth. But the question is, how much longer and to what extent can we rely on plants to provide this service? In order to answer this question, I believe we must uncover the fundamental principles that govern the behavior of plants, both currently and into the future. My name is Farrior, and together with the members of my lab at the University of Texas at Austin, we are working to do just that. We use a combination of experiments, observations, and mathematical models to triangulate these fundamental principles that govern the growth, distribution, and evolution of plants. We all know that the environment permanently challenges plants and heavily influences their strategies. But what you might not realize is that often even more important can be the incredible pressures that plants place upon one another. For example, the woody biomass of trees is a result of individual-based competition for light. Wood itself is not a productive structure for plants, but is used by plants as a weapon in this competition. Trees use wood to grow out of the shade of their neighbors and then in turn shade their neighbors. So these trees around us that are all investing an impressive amount of biomass in wood have done so because of millennia of competition with one another for light. We have found that including this driver and the drivers of plant competition below ground, we can explain the variation and allocation strategies of trees within forests across the globe. This is hugely important because allocation strategy plays a huge role in the carbon storage of these ecosystems. If plants allocate to wood, this effectively locks carbon in tissue out of the atmosphere for centuries. But if instead plants allocate that same carbon to leaves or fine roots, these tissues are used by the plants for only a year or two. Before they're dropped, they start to decompose and that CO2 returns to the atmosphere. With the support of Johnson&Johnson, my group will continue to uncover the first principles of plant ecology. And in collaboration with colleagues around the world, this will allow us to inform long-term management of ecosystems and more accurately predict the pace of climate change.